Well, we're back where it all began in 2017, the spectacular city of Cape Town and Killarney International Raceway, where we opened the championship back in March. The crowds are out in force and no doubt to support their hometown hero, Johan Fourie, who's always a fan favourite in this part of the country. Hi, I'm Sasha Martiningo, and there's a tremendous amount of excitement for round 7 of this year's championship. Michael Stephen leads the championship, yet Gennaro Bonafede will take the fight all the way to the wire. Before we go racing, let's take a lap of this iconic circuit with the hometown favourites.
Hi everybody, I'm Johan Fourie. Welcome to my hometown, Killarney International Racetrack. Turn 1 is quite a very important corner for Killarney. It's the only left-hander on the track. So you're coming about 220 kilometers into the corner. It's quite bumpy on the braking points on the right side of the track, so you get 2 crests coming down, but you need to get the grip and flow the speed into the corner. But it's very important to hit the apex 3/4 through the corner. And also once you're in a race, it's very slippery in the inside, so especially if you defend and someone to try to overtake you in the inside, you can always squeeze them because there's a lot of gravel and dust and stuff on the inside which is not clean, so you struggle to brake and you can lock up a wheel, similar to what Simon did in the beginning of the year at round 1.
He's out of control and he's gone rounds.
It's quite important to stick all the way to the left-hand side coming into turn 2. Long corner, 180 corner actually, and then get on the throttle quite hard. You don't want to exit too wide all the way to the left-hand side because going into 3 is quite tight then, which is easy flat left kink, and into 4, which is quite an important corner. It's also a little bit banked again, so you can carry a lot more speed than you anticipate into the corner again. Going into 5, Malmesbury is a double apex. You have to make sure about the first entry, but you want to get enough power as soon as possible so you can carry the momentum all the way through the second apex and then be on the straight so you can have the maximum top speed going into 6. Coming into turn 6 is the highest point of the track, reaching about 225 kilometers an hour. We normally pick a brake marker just after the bump. It's 2 nasty bumps, but the second one's a little bit rougher, but as soon as you get the car over the bump and you can brake it settle quite easily. You can really push a little bit harder, depends on how brave you are and how new the tyres are. But coming to the corner, you can see it's very banked. It's got a big incline, so you can really throw the car in and it really stuck down to the tarmac. I prefer a slightly wider line and hug the corner towards the end on the exit. Make sure you get a good drive all the way down to the start-finish line because it's very important again for the long straight all the way down to turn 1. So that's a lap of Killarney Raceway.
While the weather's been a bit cool this weekend, the sun is definitely out here on the Western Cape for race day, a top of 19 degrees today. But if we take a look at qualifying yesterday, the session was intense. No surprise that Michael Stephen and Gennaro Bonafede were trading times at the top, but in the end, Gennaro got his 4th pole position and a much-needed confidence boost, no doubt. In GTC2, the regular faces were up at the top, like Trevor Bland and Keegan Masters, but it was Charles Smallberger who impressed everyone, getting his first GTC2 pole position for 2017. Charles, you must be over the moon.
Absolutely, great job by my team, and managed to get that magic lap yesterday, and it's pole position, so chuffed, so chuffed.
Listen, Volkswagen are always strong, but we've got the arrival of the signature Mini guys. They've won a race or 2, but you, lying 30 in the championship as a privateer, it's a great feather in your cap, the way that you've really progressed.
Look, everyone in this field is so quick. We can't discount anybody, and we've got Trevor and Keegan ahead in the championship, so yeah, I've got to work hard to try and catch up to them.
I tell you, we want to see you on the podium, and good luck. Let's get into our first race. Let's cross over to Richard Crail.
Sasha, the Sasol GTC Championship has come a very long way since we last visited Cape Town. It's been a remarkable series so far. Great to be back at Killarney Raceway though for what should be a terrific weekend of racing. Here's the circuit, it's 3.2 Ks, just the 6 corners, an average lap speed nearing the old 100-mile-an-hour mark. It is a properly fast and properly challenging little racetrack and always produces great racing. It's a big crowd here this weekend. They're all cheering on Cape Townian's own Johan Fourie. He's a star in this part of the world, but the star of the series at the moment is Michael Stephen. He's on the grid with Sasha.
It's been an incredible season, Michael. If you look at when it started back in March down here, you didn't have a great weekend, yet you go into this race weekend for the first time in the points lead.
Yeah, obviously the year didn't start great down here, but we come here the second time this year and we're going to try and turn the fortunes, and so far so good, so we'll see what the race brings.
Michael, also using the brand new soft Dunlops for the first time here in Killarney, is it going to make a difference over the duration of the first race?
I think for me it's actually probably a benefit. The way we've set up the car, it's very light on the tyres, So towards the end of race 1 and especially race 2, I think it's probably a little bit more of a benefit for me. So we're loving it. The cars are faster with them, so looking forward to it.
Wishing you all the best. Good luck.
Cool, thanks very much.
He started the championship more than 100 points behind his nearest rival, Gennaro Bonafede, but last time out, he grabbed the lead. That's how it runs so far. Keegan Masters with a handy lead in GTC 2. Here's the grid. It's Bonafede and Stephen, less than half a tenth between them in qualifying, with Robert Walk just edging out Simon Moss. Johan Ferree goes from 5th. Daniel Rowe, Michael Van Rooyen and Matt Hodges next. In GTC 2, Charles Smallberger on pole for the first time alongside Trevor Bland. 2 new names at the front of the field, both looking for a victory, and Trevor Bland looking to break through for the first time this year. So we're back in Cape Town. It's a great part of the world to go racing, and it's a great racetrack to do it at. We're underway, a critical round in GTC this year, and the 2 championship contenders are 1 and 2 as they run into turn 1. Gennaro Bonafede on the inside, 2 BMWs and 2 Audis line astern. The 2 Volkswagens watching. Simon Moss is off the road on the exit of turn 1, bouncing around, and he's gone from a potential P3 to a very likely P7 or 8. Not a great start for a man that's been second a whole lot of times this year, but a regular front runner in the championship. Trevor Bland in front early in GTC 2, but if round 1 in the championship way back at the start of the year was any indication, that lead could change hands plenty of times throughout this race. A real slipstreaming paradise for GTC 2 cars here at Killarney Raceway. The mountain in the background watching on. What a part of the world to go motor racing, and it's Bonafede with a couple of crucial car lengths early on. Robert Walk up to 3rd place in great form, and Ferree now under pressure from Moss as they go into Cape Town corner. So Simon did some rallycross on the outside of turn 1. There is actually rallycross coming here in a few months' time. That's not quite what he had in mind though. Looking down the outside of the local hero now into turn 1. Great corner, fast entry. Not a massive overtaking opportunity into the corner, but perhaps midway through. But Ferree has had to surrender that position to the number 38 Audi. So BMW's 1 and 3. There's an Audi in 2nd. There's a Volkswagen looking for 4th place. And then we go back to this fight for GTC 2. So Trevor Bland in front. He led a couple of laps here in the opening round when we first visited at the start of the year. Couldn't quite pull it off for the win though. And Ian Stevenson is another driver who's been in pretty good form lately. Qualified brilliantly for this weekend, but he's had good pace the last couple of rounds in that Comsol Polo. So mixing it up now with the Signature Motorsport Minis and the factory Volkswagens in front. That was Mandla Matakani making a move. Race winner at Killarney early this year. Out of turn 5 and this long run down the back straight. This is what this racetrack does. It creates great wheel-to-wheel racing. That's the battle for the lead, and then we look back to P5, 6, 7 and 8. Very competitive stuff. Whoa, Smallberger squeezed out of road there on the inside as he tries to wrestle the lead away from Trevor Bland. Here's Keegan Masters. Championship leader, just looking in this, he's got a very, very comfortable lead in the GTC 2 standings. So he's not going to play it conservative, but he can afford to give a position away here or there if he needs to. He's got a great points margin. Have a look at these 2 going at it. Bland now back down the inside. Another lead change. Masters will try and fight back. Terrific stuff. GTC 2, the action category in 2017. Right, back to the front. Here's Bonafede. Big stop from 255 kilometres an hour on the entry into Cape Town corner, but it's a fast turn in and a banked corner. So you can overtake down there, but you can get on the power really early and set your run up through the final kink and then onto the start and finish straight. Now it's Smallberger looking to the outside. Bland defensive. Charles with a brake lock up by the looks of it. Just a bit dirty on the outside of the road there. Now Keegs goes back up the inside. And it looks like he's going to try and grab P2 away. Let's go back and have a look. And a little moment further up for the Signature Motorsport Mini. That's Chris Shorter. Just outbraked himself there. And that big stop at the end of the back straight. So this is a terrific fight. 6 different pole sitters in GTC2 this year as of this weekend, with Charles Smallberger getting on top in qualifying this weekend. It's just been so very competitive and the margins getting ever closer. Speaking of qualifying this weekend, Gennaro Bonafede on pole. Brilliant lap. In fact, it was a great qualifying session. He edged out Michael Stephen by just a few hundredths of a second, but their qualifying times had improved by 1.4 seconds since the last time the series visited. It shows the pace of development in this category. In fact, Johan Ferree went 1.3 seconds faster in qualifying this weekend and dropped 1 spot on the grid compared to the last time out. Shows how this field is continuing to improve and this series gets more competitive. Dane Angel's Honda pulls to the side. He's out. Keegan Masters pulls to the side. He's too hot. Into turn 6. Goes very, very deep. Well, we talked about the championship leader not making many mistakes. He's just made one there. A little bit too deep under brakes by the looks of it. The car moving around. He took to the runoff area on the inside of the racetrack, and Trevor Bland was very lucky there not to find a Volkswagen Polo parked in his driver's door. And I wonder if Keegan's problems go a little bit further than just outbraking himself, because he's gone to pit lane. And that, for the championship leader in GTC2, is a big blow. So back to Madakani, under pressure from Bradley Liebenberg. These two greatly improved this season. Signature Motorsport, the story has been well told. When they arrived here at the start of the season at this very racetrack, they just built 2 race cars in 3 weeks. They're so much better prepared this time, but it's still a racetrack that seems to suit the Volkswagen Polo. So back to the lead. Michael Stephen thought his car would be better over the race distance, so as the race went on, he felt like this Audi would get better and better. The 2 leaders just pulling away now. There's a battle pack for 3rd place. Here's Robert Walk. Sits 6 in the championship. But he's in good touch. Had a win in Port Elizabeth just a couple of rounds ago. And then backed that up with a pole position in Svartkop's last time out. He's now under pretty serious pressure though from Rowe in that Volkswagen Jetta. Through that great kink, it's an awesome corner, absolutely flat to the boards. And then into this first of 2 right-handers. There'll be yellow flags flying there for Honda parked to the side of the road. It won't worry these guys though. Through turn 5 in this long run down the back straight. Here's Gennaro. Has to hit every single braking point because he's got the championship leader and the reigning champion right behind. And the withering pressure that Michael Stephen will apply will be relentless. Go back and have a look at Mandler up the inside of Brad Liebenberg. A little bit of fisticuffs, a little bit of a bump, a push. And now they'll go side by side. These two have been spectacular to watch all season long. Inconsistent seasons for both of them, but they're in the midst of a pretty good fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in the GTC 2 points. Trevor Bland, as always, getting the maximum out of his braking performance. Down into Cape Town corner. The rear end of that car wobbling around as he tries to get it stopped. And he's under immense pressure from Charles Smallberger. Isn't it good to see these two out in front? And Charles actually climbed from 5th to 3rd in the championship with his performance last time out. He became the 6th different race winner in this championship. As we said earlier, it's just been so brutally competitive. Meanwhile, this group of cars in Sasol GTC locked together. Hodges looking down the inside now of Johan Fourie. Been a quiet weekend so far for the hometown hero. Desperate to put on a show. I'll tell you one thing he has done this weekend. He's got black wheels on the EPS Couriers BMW and they look sensational. So it might not be going so fast, but it looks great doing it. Charles Smallberger, huge slide. Have a look at this and a listen. So front wheel drive car, when you get a big oversteer moment like that, when the rear wants to overtake the front, you push the throttle down and the front wheels pull you out of the corner. It drags you straight. Great bit of car control from Charles Smallberger. But what it does do is give Trevor Bland just a few extra car lengths in front to hold on to this GTC2 lead. He's 3 laps away from potentially winning for the first time. And that will be an enormous, enormous moment for the 31-year-old who's been a great competitor this year but hasn't quite been able to crack it for a race victory. Let's go back to Johan Fourie under pressure from Matt Hodges. Michael Van Rooyen just in behind the Rustenburg Rocket. Let's ride with Hodges. Good run in the toe. So he gets the slipstream, the hole in the air that Johan Fourie is punching. He used that to perfection. And he goes down the inside and wrestles the spot away. So the Volkswagen climbs a position further. And Simon Moss will be his next target now. Van Rooyen looking to capitalise on that and get past Johan Fourie. Really dramatic season for the driver of the number 95 Rustenburg Steel car. But he goes down the inside. That's a good move at turn 1. That unique arm stretched out driving style. Wrestles that car around. A very frustrating season for Michael Van Rooyen. But you feel the result, surely, when all the dice roll his way, will be coming the way of the Rustenburg Rocket. Back to GTC2. Bland with a good margin now over Smallberger. Let's go on board with Liebenberg. He's racing with Mandla Matakani. And does the switchback and the bumpy switchback with some fisticuffs through that final corner. He won't need the passenger side mirror anyway. No point looking backwards when you're in a race this competitive. Wheel to wheel towards turn 1. Factory Mini versus Factory Volkswagen. Winners this season, both of them, and side by side, Matakani holds on. That's the joy of this racetrack. If you hold your ground on the outside, you can often get that position back. They're still wheel to wheel. Shows how good the parity in this class is. Just over 200 kilowatts, these cars. Limited slip diff in the front. They put their power down really well. They might be production-based vehicles, but they are properly quick. And now Michael Stephen has closed right into the back of Gennaro Bonafede. The former championship leader looking to break a duck that stretches back a couple of rounds. And last time out, wasn't a very good weekend at Svartkops for Gennaro. A 5th and a 6th in the 2 races there. He hasn't won since race 1 in round 4, going back almost 2 months. He must, simply must, strike back in this race and hold out Michael Stephen. One big braking zone to go. And negotiate Ian Stevenson's Comsol car. Stephen looks down the inside, the engine extreme out. He's going to have a go, but he won't be close enough. A crucial race for Gennaro Bonafede, who proves this championship is far from over. He wins race 1 at Killarney, and the battle starts to edge back the way of BMW, and this battle in the final corner between Robert Walk and Rowe gives a free pass to Simon Moss. He'll get the Volkswagen, and it'll be close with the BMW. And Daniel Rowe, I don't think there was much he could do there. Copped a big serve, clutch in and limped the car to the finish. And now this will be one of the most popular moments of the season so far. Trevor Bland. He's been second twice this year. It's been an enormous fight, but the privateer, the 31-year-old from Johannesburg, who stepped up from the Polo Cup, will finally break through for a maiden victory in GTC 2. It was hard fought, but Trevor Bland is a winner in GTC 2 for the first time. That is a popular win. The TV racing driver has done it, and what a way to do it. Bonafede to Stephen and Moss 1, 2 and 3, with Walk, Van Rooyen, Hodges, Ferree and Rowe completing the Sasol GTC field.
Gennaro, when it comes to race driving, concentration is such a key element. That must have really tested you.
Yeah, that was tough. Listen, to be ahead from start to finish with a high, fast-charging Michael behind me is never easy. He doesn't make any mistakes, and I couldn't afford to make any mistakes either. So, and I'm really, really happy with the fact we won this race. We needed it. Race 2 now is going to be a bit of a challenge. We'll see how far we can make it up to the grid.
Well, what a great story this is. Trevor Bland and Charles Smallberger fought it out for 10 laps here at Killarney. In the end, it went to TB. Mr. Excitement did the business for the first time in GTC 2. Smallberger second, Matakani third. The big story, perhaps, Keegan Masters down in eighth. But what a result for Trevor.
Trevor, I can see that smile on your face. What a victory. What a ride.
Yeah, I'm super chuffed. Look, Charles made me work really hard. He was all over me and he got in front of me, and then we just worked really well together, and we got a bit of a gap. The headwind was difficult to manage, and being in the front, but I'm super chuffed, and I told you guys I'll get it eventually.
He sure did. There's Gennaro Bonafede. Gee, that's good for the championship. Edges some points back on Michael Stephen in their ongoing battle in 2017. Well, Charles Smallberger is one of the hardest working privateers in GTC 2 and continues a rapid climb towards the top of the points leaderboard.
Hi, I'm Charles Smallberger and I race for Lee Thompson Racing in GTC 2.
With a modest budget yet mammoth determination, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more committed driver to their racecraft development than Charles Smallberger.
So my dad started racing and he got me into it in a young age when he bought me a little 50cc go-kart. But I've loved it since day one, so I love doing it. You know, there's nothing like taking a car around the track, pushing it to its absolute limit.
While the majority of his competitors have glowing CVs, Charles has taken the more modest route from karting all the way to third in last year's GTC 2 Championship.
Yeah, well, I came through the karting racks, and then in 2008 we went to the World Finals in Italy. But after that, you know, I've sort of achieved what I wanted to do with karting and got into saloon car racing. And then from there, made the move into national circuit racing with Polo Cup, and then into GTC.
Coming off the back of his first win for 2017 at Zwartkops, his second career victory in the category, it's his love of the sport and respect for his rivals that stands him apart from the rest, no matter how tough the competition is.
No, well, it's been very competitive. I mean, lots of the top Polo Cup guys have also moved up to GTC 2, so Mini's Signature Motorsport, they've got a proper team backing them, Nathan Motorsport and Trevor, and all the guys from the GTR side, they're all the top guys in the country. And so, yeah, this is expected to be very competitive, and that's why we've had to work hard.
With a win in the bag and 2 rounds left, anything is still possible for the 23-year-old engineering student as he chases a strong finish to 2017.
Future's looking good. I mean, GTC 2 is a nice concept it's ideal for privateers because the cars are based on standard models and with minimum modification. You don't need millions to come race here per year, and that's why we chose to stick here, just for the love of it. I mean, I do it because I want to and I enjoy racing, and no other reason, yeah, just for the absolute love of racing.
almost time to go racing round 7, Sasol GTC. Lots of activity taking place down here in Cape Town, including the Sasol GTC team going out to visit one of the local high schools as an ongoing project for Sasol's community work. Gennaro, you were there yesterday, and incredible for you, speaking to these matrics, giving them some kind of inspiration and motivation for their final exams.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously I was a matric 8-9 years ago, so I know exactly what it's like, and for them to have the privilege of, you know, getting funding from corporates, it's really, really important for Sasol and for the community, and, you know, try to inspire them, and if I could inspire one person, then I would have made my day.
Also the involvement with Sasol, you know, your own personal involvement with them as well. Very, very important for all of the communities of South Africa.
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, Sasol do great things, you know, to uplift our country, to you know, embed certain systems in education, and that's where our youth come from. You know, the youth and the future of the nation comes from our education. So it's really, really important, and I love it, you know, to be able to go there and just speak my mind and have a few jokes with the guys and have a bit of a laugh, take some photos is amazing.
Well, congratulations to all the good work that you're doing. Keep it going. Let's get over to race 2. Here's Richie.
Sasha, thank you very much. And that man is in a critical position in the championship, just edging that points margin back now to Michael Stephen. Here's how they line up for our reverse grid race. Daniel Rowe alongside Johan Ferree, Matt Hodges and Michael Van Rooyen next. Walk and Moss from the third row, with Stephen and Bonafede going from row number 4. Michael Stephen just in front of Gennaro Bonafede. In GTC 2, Keegan Masters and Ian Stevenson off the front row. Watch for the Comsol driver. Newcomer Nick Adcock goes alongside Chris Shorter, with Liebenberg, Matakani, Smallberger and Bland and Angel rounding out the field. This should be a ripping race. These reverse grid affairs have been extraordinary this season, and it'll be a Volkswagen leading them down towards turn 1. Watch for car 11, Daniel Rowe. Gets a very good start on the inside of the racetrack and clearly leads the field. Not so clear in the back of GTC 2 though. The two minis squeezing for racing room. Nick Adcock, the newcomer's in there as well. But it's Volkswagen 1 and 2. Hodges slots in behind his teammate. Daniel Rowe scored a podium last time out. Was his first in GTC racing. He's looking to continue that form. And what a brilliant opening lap. And he needs to make hay while the sun shines, especially while Gennaro Bonafede and Michael Stephen work their way through this field. Because Stephen especially is an expert at these reverse grid races. Big crowd watching on. Here's Moss behind Robert Walk. Good run too out of turn 5 and uses the toe nicely. Pulls out of the BMW and goes alongside on that run down into Cape Town corner and clears him before they get to the braking zone. Everyone else still fighting in front. The one thing with this Dunlop Sportmax Super Soft tyre that they're running in the races this year is that they come up to temperature quicker. Softer compound means more grip early. Big moment. Stevenson had a slide. Just gathered it up though. Great save. Need to go back and have a look at that. Here he is. So it wasn't just a slide from Stevenson, it was induced by another car making contact with his right rear quarter panel. Good catch though, and he will live to fight another day. That's all allowed Keegan Masters just to pull away out in front. Had brake dramas in that first race, Keegan, so that explained a lot of the dramas. We saw him firing it off the road at turn 6, and off the road as Robert Walk, a little bit wide on the exit of that opening corner. It's what Simon Moss did on the opening lap of race 1. Back to the battle pack. Charles Smallberger in the mix now. Liebenberg and Shorter either side of him. We're on board with Liebenberg. He's on the outside looking to make a move. And is that Trevor Bland squeezing his way through? You bet it is. We've dubbed him Mr. Excitement this year, and he makes moves like that. It justifies it completely. Through the flat out left-hand kink and into the braking zone for turn 4. Past the big shipping containers on driver's left. So what about Daniel Rowe? The open wheeler graduate stepped up into the main game this year. On the podium last time out, now leading this race and doing it in style. And he'll be hoping for a favour from his teammate, Matt Hodges. To be fair, they've raced wheel to wheel more often than not this year. But right now, he needs his teammate to bottle this field up and slow them down so he can build a margin. And to his eternal credit, that's what he's doing. Because behind them, they're side by side. There's Stephen working his way through. Bonafede following. He's rounding up Michael Van Rooyen, or at least trying to, on the run across the start-finish line. Simon Moss will look to follow Van Rooyen through. And now Michael Stephen goes down the inside of Hodges. And already he's in second place as we start lap 3. He has made these races his own, Michael Stephen. And it might be experience, his controlled driving style. He picks his moment to make a move. And when he does, he pounces. But there have been a lot of these reverse grid races this year, and more often than not, it's car 1 doing all of the winning. He's won 4 of 5 so far this season. He only missed out at Port Elizabeth, and off the road goes Van Rooyen. Very big moment for the Rustenburg Rocket. It's a high-speed sequence of corners, and that car has stopped. And that car is not restarting. Let's have a look. So just a bit of understeer on corner exit there for Van Rooyen. Big slide at high speed as well, and really lucky not to whack the fence there on the outside. Unfortunately did it in front of a packed grandstand. A big crowd watching on here at Killarney Raceway. Bonafede down the inside, opportunistic move, but Hodges left him racing room. And it's vital as they hip and shoulder outside the corner. It's vital that Bonafede goes with his championship rival. He must match him overtake for overtake. He's got to stay in close company. Stevenson again, this time at Cape Town corner. And again saves it with a very big moment as Charles Smallberger tried to make a hole up the inside. Well, there was half a hole there. It was contact pretty far back alongside the Comsol car, so not too sure how they'll look at that in race control. Back to this battle. This is now Simon Moss trying to work his way past Hodges, who locks a brake, runs wide, and Robert Walk, actually Bonafede it is, gets the two of them. So that's vital. Absolutely critical move. Finally clears Hodges. Walking behind this battle pack, of course. Simon Moss continues to have a Volkswagen for company. Bonafede now should close up behind Michael Stephen. That's a look at the landscape here. It's a pretty spectacular place to go car racing. Got to say, really enjoy the motor racing at Killarney. This is a racetrack with a lot on their schedule coming up this year as Moss goes down the inside of Hodges and grabs the spot away. The Volkswagen's yet to win this season. They won towards the end of season 1 of Sasol GTC. Is this their moment? The problem for Daniel Rowe is that these reverse grid races are a whole lot longer than the first in the weekend. Wow, Mandler. He came from a long way back. Ian Stevenson has been a punching bag in this race. More hits than Elvis at the moment. Continues to drive that car in a straight line though, which is remarkable. And now he's got a Mini tucked up in his slipstream. That's why he's going right to the inside of the racetrack. No problems under brakes there for Ian Stevenson, except that everybody else wants to line him up and whack him in the driver's door. So the 33 Mini pulling away there. That's Chris Shorter. This is his teammate Bradley Liebenberg. It's no wonder that Stevenson's rear bumper bar starting to fall off there. He's had some hits in that rear corner going into Cape Town turn. And that's Matakani going into pit lane, so I wonder if that hefty contact down there a lap ago has caused him some dramas. Keegan Masters pulling away out in front, and this battle pack continues. Trevor Bland is in the mix. Stevenson under pressure, Smallberger up the inside. So Smallberger and Bland continuing their battle pack from race 1, except this time it's at the opposite end of the field. Such is the peril of reverse grid racing. Sometimes you're the windscreen, sometimes you're the bug, and you're at the back of the field. There is Charles, one of the hardest working privateers in the field. In fact, great to see he and Trevor Bland racing at the front. Proves you don't have to be a factory supported outfit to win in this category. And it will hopefully entice even more to come out and play. Here's Keegan Masters. He's built a terrific margin while everyone else wars behind him. Now what's Stevenson going to have this time down at Cape Town corner? Well, it's a Mini going around the outside. This time no contact. The Comsol car loses a spot, but does it without any paint being exchanged. And the Mini goes past and grabs the spot. It's been good to see Ian Stevenson at the front of the field as well. He's been developing as the year goes on. As we watch Matty Hodges trying to catch the leading in front. That won't help his cause with Simon Moss dropping some wheels off. And now Michael Stephen, this for the race lead. The king of reverse grid races does it again and goes to the lead. Big move. It was pretty straightforward, to be fair. Under brakes into Cape Town corner. Clean as you like. Surgical as you like. The championship leader back in front. That's Smallberger up the inside of Stevenson. So he's lost a couple of spots in a couple of corners, the Volkswagen driver. And now Charles looking to put a move on the Mini Cooper S, JCW in front. So Michael Stephen only denied once in reverse grid races. Now the question for me is, what can Gennaro Bonafede do? He's got to clear Daniel Rowe. Will we see a switch around from what we saw in race 1, where it was Bonafede under pressure? Let's ride with Stevenson and watch and enjoy this battle in front. Oh geez, good under brakes this time. See the steering wheel work as the weight transfer goes over the front wheels and the rear slides around. Charles gets a return of serve in his door this time by. Stevenson looking to force his way through. Bland under pressure behind. Adcock is going to go past there actually. So the race 1 winner right at the very back of the GTC2 field in this race. Here's Bonafede. A replay almost of what Michael Stephen did to Daniel Rowe last time round. And another very clean move. And the two championship contenders continue to show why they're 1 and 2 in the points. With 51 points coming into the weekend between the two of them to the favour of Michael Stephen. It's more than a 100-point turnaround over where he was when they walked away from the opening round of the championship way back at the start of the season. Now Simon Moss looking to get past the Volkswagen. I wonder if they went for an aggressive strategy on that Volkswagen Jetta. Maybe they set their tyre pressures low. High, I should say, which means that they would come on quickly in the race, but as the race goes on, the pace would diminish as the tyres start to overheat. Remember, these soft compound tyres wear out quicker, but they produce more grip early in the race. Back to this fight. Mini v Volkswagen, as it has been all season long in GTC2. Smallberger looking the long way around. There's a little bit of exchange of paint colours there, though you won't notice it because the cars are mostly the same colour. Out of the final corner, wheel-to-wheel battle, and Smallberger gets the position and gets the job done. And Ian Stevenson had the best view of that than anyone could possibly imagine. Have a look at this. That's the real-time margin. Keegan Masters leading the Mini in second place. Keegan went over to Europe between rounds and had a go in the Audi TT Cup at the very famous Zandvoort circuit up there in Holland. Had a very good weekend too. Scored a podium finish against some very, very competitive rivals up there. So another young South African driver making his mark on the world stage. That's the same process that Kelvin van der Linde took to now become a factory Audi driver in global GT racing. So I wonder if Keegan Masters the next to have a go overseas. Right now though, he's got a job to do. He's got a handy margin in the GTC2 Championship, so he needs to wrap that up first. We're right on board with the championship leader. Often these races, when you're out in front, you've got clean racetrack in front, you can't see anything in your mirror. They're the hardest ones to win. He just needs to maintain his margin. You can hear some young fans in the background cheering for the young man who's been so very impressive in what's been a wildly open championship in GTC2, and where consistency really is key. The young man has certainly done that. 4 race wins to this point, 3 pole positions, but most importantly, he's been in the top 3 9 times, and that's where you score the points. Speaking of points, here is a man who needs a whole lot of them. Bonafede closing in on Michael Stephen. He's just edging ever so closer to the Engen Extreme Audi. Team boss Terry Moss celebrated his 60th birthday between rounds. Michael Stephen, who is such an intrinsic part of that race team, will be looking to celebrate with a win here in race 2. That's Robert Walk going to pit lane. A shame for the Sasol BMW driver, who's been in great form lately. Took a couple of rounds, but finally gelled with these GTC cars. Here's the leader. Beautiful display of his smooth and controlled driving style. Every input means something for Michael Stephen. Wow, Simon Moss off again very wide at turn 5. It's such a fast corner. If you're half a car width wide at the apex, you'll end up in the grass. That's away from Daniel Rowe. He's got his teammate in front. And once more, the Volkswagens go at it. This has been a staple of the season so far. And while they might not be winning races right at the very front of the field, they're very evenly matched, these two. And they've provided great entertainment. Well, there is a battle-scarred Sasol Turbo Fuels BMW down there at the VM Innovation Squad. And that is Johan Ferree. He was late joining the racetrack, didn't actually take the green flag. He rolled out from pit lane with dramas on that car, but the EPS Courier's entry, unfortunately now a DNF. And that's a massive blow for the man from Cape Town, who was so keen to put on a show at his home racetrack. His luck, he's another driver whose luck has to change at some point this year. Surely the results will flow for a man that talented and with that much experience. He knows that he should be up there with Michael Stephen and Gennaro Bonafede racing for victories in this championship. But for whatever reason, things haven't rolled his way so far this year. There's 2 rounds to go. We're off to Kyle Army next. He was strong there last time out. I wonder if that's where we'll see a change of luck. Critical moment for Stephen. He now has to work his way through lap traffic. This has been another feature of these reverse grid races. So they're longer in distance compared to the opening race of the weekend. And that means that the Sasol GTC cars are catching the slower production-based GTC2 cars as the race goes on. And Michael Stephen is the first to get to them. So it's the first time they're aware a faster car is coming through, and often you see that benefit the guy chasing. So Gennaro should get, hopefully, a little bit of margin here. Hopefully for him, of course. Not so much for Michael Stephen. Because when Bonafede gets to them, they're all aware that the faster cars are coming through, so they're more inclined to jump out of the way quicker. And that looks to be what's occurred, because that margin has come down. It's now just a couple of car lengths first to second. Here's Simon Moss. Despite his moments in this race, he retains P3. Ever consistent. Just hits the rev limiter before they go into turn 4. Long, fast flowing corner. Unfortunately, the Rustenburg Rocket still parked to the side there in front of that packed grandstand. Now, a hesitation there for Michael Stephen. Going up to lap Smallberger. Bonafede is right in a position to have a go down at Cape Town corner. He must make every opportunity count, because he must beat Michael Stephen for this championship. But he's not quite close enough. There's a love tap there, and there's no love lost between these two. It was just a couple of rounds ago they were coming to blows. Wheel to wheel, our 2 championship leaders. It's Audi versus BMW at the front. This is what you pay your money to see, folks. 2 of the best drivers in South African motorsport, in 2 of the best cars, going wheel to wheel, fighting it out for the championship. And these final 2 rounds are going to be a roller coaster. Down the inside of the Mini, Bonafede stays affixed to the rear bumper bar of the N-Gen Audi. And in a replay of race 1, the leaders are nose to tail, but this time it's Michael Stephen who has the pressure. The car starting to dance around. Stephen is working harder. And of course, going offline to pass those slower cars, he'll pick up the marbles, the debris on the road, so maybe a bit of pickup on his tyres. The Volkswagen's going at it. Stevenson's got a great view of that. He's also got a whole lot of understeer. The car did not want to turn in. He gathers it up. Lost a spot though. It's a real shame for the Comsol driver who started this race racing at the front of the field. Well, it's all coming alive in this battle in Sasol GTC. They've now just got to pass Keegan Masters and they'll be clear of all the GTC2 runners. 2 laps remain. Just over 3 kilometres around Killarney Raceway. So 6Ks left this weekend. What can Bonafede do? A few valuable bonus points for pole. They were critical. A win in race 1 saw that championship margin come down. The last thing he needs is for Michael Stephen just to even the score with a win in race 2. But Michael has been so good in these reverse grid races. And should he win the Sasol GTC Championship this year, he'll look back on those races with a great degree of fondness. And Hodges up the inside of Rowe. So that's what, positional change number 3 between the 2 teammates. They have spent an awful lot of time side by side this year. And Hodges clears him, just a bit of damage to that side skirt. That shouldn't affect the handling of that car too much. And Daniel Rowe, who started from pole position, just drifting backwards through the field as this race goes on. Speaking of races, here they are. About to start the final lap, and Stephen has just got a slight buffer now over the Sasol BMW. We ride on board with Gennaro Bonafede. It's been a really tough middle stanza of this season for the Joburg native, but he reapplied the pressure this weekend with a brilliant victory in race 1. But Michael Stephen, a man from Port Elizabeth, a man who is such a big part of this Engine Extreme team, does a lot of the engineering work behind the scenes, so very good at setting up these cars. He's fought back in race 2. But this is an indicator of what we're going to see for the remaining 2 rounds in the Sasol GTC Africa Championship. Hard, fast, competitive racing between 2 of the very best. Just a few corners to go. A beautiful afternoon in Cape Town. Barring any dramas at the final corner, it's going to go the way of Michael Stephen. He's looking for his 8th win of the season. The defending champion. Bonafede's not close enough. This has been a lesson from the defending champion in how to put a race together, how to work your way through the field, how to hold a margin, and now how to get a checkered flag. It's Michael Stephen's race again. The reverse grid race is all Michael's. Bonafede second, and Keegan Masters, the championship leader in GTC2, an emphatic performance. And the reverse grid race worked a treat for him. He's got every right to celebrate that drive. A masterful performance. Well, there's the top 3. What a race. What a weekend, actually, in Cape Town. Terrific racing, and it sets us up for a remarkable showdown at the end of this season. Stephen Bonafede and Moss 1, 2 and 3. Hodges and Rowe fought it out for 4th place to the favour of Matty Hodges. And there's the championship. The margin has decreased slightly. Stephen and Bonafede will fight it out over the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, obviously not the ideal result in race 1, but we managed to come from 7th on the grid to win race 2. And, you know, Gennaro really drove well in race 1, so he deserved the win. And I think the roles were reversed this way around. He was chasing me, and yeah, I think it just shows, you know, sometimes when you get a little bit close through the fast corners onto the back straight, yeah, you pick up a bit of understeer. So glad I was in front.
That's a wry grin there from the championship leader. And what about Keegan Masters? Speaking of championship leaders, he's got a very healthy margin at the top of GTC2. It was Masters, Shorter, Smallberger and Liebenberg 1, 2, 3 and 4 in GTC2 race 2, with Stevenson fighting his way to 5th place. And there's the championship, a healthy margin indeed for Masters, but that battle for second will go right down to the wire.
Unfortunately, I had a lot of brake failure in race 1, so I couldn't finish the race. But race 2 was good. Just luckily, I got a good start, and I got in front. And I think the oaks behind me were having a little bit of a fight. So, because I looked back, and they were far behind because they were dicing so much. So it was a nice, easy win. Good for the team after race 1. I'd like to thank the team for fixing my brake. I'm well ahead now, I think, so I can at least relax a little bit for the last few rounds. So yeah, I just need to keep it consistent, make sure I finish all my races, and I should be good.
Congratulations to Michael Stephen and Keegan Masters for their wins down here at Killarney in Cape Town. There are only 2 rounds left in the Sasol GTC Championship. Next up, we go to the iconic Killarney International Grand Prix circuit, and then we round off the series at Swartkops Raceway. We cannot wait to see what happens in November, and we hope that you'll join us too. Until then, ciao ciao.